The story is worth looking at. It begins with a people that basically want to get on with life without God, but it ends in chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. And right at the heart of what they want to do is this very interesting phrase. They say, let us make a name for ourselves. They're going to build a city and a tower that reaches up into the heavens. And it harps back to that original sin of Adam and Eve in Genesis chapter 3, that reaching up to the throne of God. We don't need God's rules. We don't need him working in our lives. We're fine by ourselves. Let's just gather together, which seems like a good thing. Human unity, surely there can be nothing wrong with that. And let's establish something for ourselves in our works, in the things that we have put our hands to.
Yeah. So the city of Babel is basically it's like the first of many great cities in our world, and like you don't have to go very far to come across cities, and they're just marked by lots of these same things: ambition, human intellect, this kind of arrogance even, and this striving to, if we just gather together all the brightest minds, we can do anything. We can save civilization, we can build whatever we need to save ourselves. And I think the modern confidence in technology, this has just got the roots of Babel.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you notice in those things have all been designed really with the intention, or at least the stated intention of bringing humanity together. What have most of those things done? They've actually pushed humanity further apart. Our world is more fragmented than it has ever been. We have more mental health issues and interpersonal relationship issues than we've ever had. Take social media in particular. It has left people feeling more isolated and more under pressure and more excluded than they were before.
Yeah. Let's keep pausing on Babel. So as they made this most ambitious kind of project, at the heart of it was this motto: let us make a name for ourselves. What was going on? What was at the root of what was wrong in God's eyes here? What was the problem?
Yeah, it's not human unity. It's human unity as a front for rejecting God, and that's you see this, as you said earlier, in many cities around the world, that we don't need God. We're fine as we are. And it's just the very depths of hubris and arrogance and pride to think that humanity can exist perfectly contentedly, and it can flourish and grow and really build something that matters and that lasts. I think that's the thing. And let us make a name for ourselves. Even when we are gone, we will be remembered that we can build something of enduring value without God. Such a thing is just simply not possible.
Yeah, man wants the glory, doesn't he? He wants this glory that kind of lasts forever. But they had received a command from the Lord, which was to be fruitful, multiply, and subdue the earth, to have rule over the whole earth, to fill the whole earth. So that's what God's desire was, to go out across the world and look after the world on His behalf, and yet they refused that. So the project was ultimately, we're okay, God, thank you very much.
Yeah, and of course God intervenes. So He comes down and He changes the language, and they're scattered, and his purpose is fulfilled, even though they've not sought to do that. What does a society look like without God? This is it: chaos, confusion. There's no harmony. There's no ability for cohesion or for working together.
It always falls apart, or it all falls down, maybe is a way to put it. Because here is one of the many illustrations of the pride of man. I would say it's like the pride of man in man, the kind of the self-confidence of man, you could even say. But as man kind of goes up in his own estimation that he is good enough, God ultimately brings him down. And in the reverse, God will always bring up those that get low before Him. The story of Babel is a warning, I think, about self-confidence, about trying to remove God and thinking that you'll be fine and you can get away with it. We can't get away from God. He is the creator, and He will get glory one way or the other.
Yeah.
And if we go His way, we actually share in His glory. He brings us up and exalts us. If we defy His glory and deny His glory, He'll just bring us down. But Babel isn't the only city in the Bible. There are many proud, sinful cities, Babel, Sodom, you can go on. But there is a city of Jerusalem, which just seems to be set off against this city in the Bible. And this maybe seems very abstract and off kind of random conversation, but again, it's presenting there's these two ways of life, and that's a really relevant subject for us today as well.
Yeah, and in relation to Jerusalem, God has said, I have put my name there. So it's exactly as you've said, it's about rule, it's about dominion. Who's in control? Who's orchestrating things? Is it the name of man, or is it the name of God? And Jerusalem is the city where God's principles and God's desires are brought to bear. That didn't happen, and sadly to this day still doesn't happen in literal Jerusalem, but it's a picture. And also in Genesis, a character that we're almost immediately introduced to after the story of Babel is Abraham, and God says, I will make your name great. But it's because Abraham is a man of faith, because he's looking for a city whose builder and maker is God, not a city of this world. He's looking beyond the here and now. He's looking to the eternal.
Yeah. So in the way that Cain and Abel presented two paths for us, we have to also choose which city are we going to seek after, which city are we going to join and participate in. Exactly.
And the beautiful, the glorious thing is this, that God does want human unity. He does want us to be together and to flourish. And you find the beginnings of this in Acts chapter 2, the day of Pentecost. The Spirit of God comes down, and the people, the followers of Christ, they begin to speak in languages that they've never spoken in before. So it's the reverse of Babel. And now the story, the good news about Jesus is going out across the world. And there's coming a day when around the throne of God and around the throne of the Lamb, there's going to be a new song that is sung. And the words go something like this. You're worthy because you have redeemed us to God by your blood out of every tribe and kindred and tongue and people and nation. So in the future, there's this beautiful picture of this multi-ethnic group of people from all across the world, from every walk of life, but who have been redeemed by Christ and who are united not in rebellion against God, but in worship of God as a result of the love that he has shown us through his Son.
And God himself is the only one who can sustain a healthy, joyful kind of community forever and ever. When man's kind of hubris is at the center of a community, that's going to disintegrate ultimately. Only the Lord can bring that unity and the blessing for everybody. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve.